Komodo National Park is truly one of the most beautiful places I've ever visited. Its deep blue seas, gorgeous islands, incredible views and vast array of wildlife make it the kind of place that people dream about visiting. And you can definitely understand why. Unfortunately, all of these amazing features can make seeing Komodo without pesky tourists very difficult. The biggest attraction of the region is without a doubt the Komodo dragon, the largest lizard in the world. Seeing these magnificent beasts, it's almost impossible to not let your mind wander back to a time millions of years ago when reptiles ruled the earth. However, there's a lot more to these islands than just the dragons. There's a variety of snakes here in Komodo National Park, and some of them are highly venomous. While I wanted to find as many of them as I could, there's one hidden treasure of Komodo in particular that I came here to find. A bright blue pit viper, found only on Komodo and one other nearby island. Now, snakes aren't the easiest of animals to find at the best of times, so I knew it would take some serious searching. We hunted mornings, afternoons, and of course nights to try and locate as many of these serpents as possible. We even took to the sea to try and find sea snakes. Being the middle of the dry season though, it wasn't a great time to find terrestrial snakes. According to guides, the changing climate is causing the dry season to get longer and longer, creating an increasing number of issues for the wildlife of Komodo National Park. There were plenty of incredible sightings over my time in Komodo, and I managed to come across some truly beautiful snakes. The most venomous snake on the island, the Russell's viper.
I know.
A snake you really don't want to look in the eye, the fearsome spitting cobra. Perhaps the most beautiful snake in Komodo, the lesser Sunda pit viper. The least dangerous snake we found, the oriental wolf snake. Our only marine specimen, the dog-faced water snake. And by far the most aggressive snake we found, this half-blind Sunda rat snake.
Tadi mereka bilang kobra kan?
However, across all the time that we'd spent trying to find snakes, there was still one that eluded us. I was beginning to come to terms with the fact that I'd probably never find it. G'day guys, and welcome back to the land of dragons, to Komodo Island, where amazingly we've managed to find the one snake that I had at the top of my list for the most desired snake here. The most wanted was this little gorgeous thing. This one's quite small, but I mean the coloration is still just as vibrant and just as beautiful as I'd imagined. And this is actually our third visit this week to Komodo Island. The first, we couldn't find this amazing animal despite searching for, probably I think we would have hiked around this island for over 12 hours all up and no luck. And today, just on a whim, we talked to one of the guys and he says, yeah, no, I found one earlier today, and in the same tree. Here it was. These pit vipers are pretty awesome and pretty venomous. As vipers, their venom is full of what's called protease, an enzyme that breaks down the proteins in the body of their prey. Now this is some nasty stuff and can lead to necrosis or cell death, the disruption of the body's blood clotting system, and a collapse in blood pressure, which is normally the main cause of death when bitten by a viper. However, the venom isn't just useful to kill potential prey though. It also helps the vipers to digest their food. Vipers don't have particularly good digestive systems, so by breaking down the proteins in their prey, the vipers have a much easier time digesting their meal. How cool is that? This isn't the main thing that makes these snakes so special. That would be their colour. But this one is very special because this coloration is specific only to Komodo Island and Padar Island. Nowhere else is this snake found in this colour. Normally, in Komodo, Rincha, in other areas they're vibrant green, but this blue, nowhere else. On Flores there are some that are yellow, but I mean, this is just, I think, possibly a serious contender for the most beautiful snake in the world. You can't quite see it from this angle or from your angle, but here I can see it's got this gorgeous red tail that just eases out into the blue. They use these as bait. They wiggle it around and attract in geckos are a favourite. They'll sit high up in the trees at night and try to, whack them. Other small animals, this guy's a bit small for a lot of the small mammals, so geckos are probably his favourite. But that little red tail, which stands in such contrast to the rest of their body. The other awesome thing is the colour of their eyes. Now none of my camera, I don't think, is going to be able to capture just how gorgeous their eyes are. But because they're vipers, they've got the vertical pupil, and these guys have great bright red eyes, almost like Lord of the Rings, the Eye of Sauron. This is probably the thing that I most can liken it to. That's the most accurate I have, and it's just mesmerizing. Now they're called pit vipers because just between their eyes and their nose they've got heat sensing pits. And the pit vipers, they're much bigger than most other animals. So these guys can come in maybe even a few hours after a small mammal, for example, has come through, and they can sense that heat. So they'll sit on a tree like this, above like the area that mammal has come through, and they'll just wait for hours. They've been known to not move for sometimes days. They'll stay in that one position and wait for that animal to come back through that area, and as it does, then wham! They'll hit it, and that's food. Now, these guys are highly venomous. Potentially, if you're really unlucky, they can be lethal. So really not one to mess with. But I love the shape of the viper head. That triangular, almost arrow-like head is very particular to the viper family, and it's a large, aggressive shape. I love it. They're such amazing snakes. Like most vipers, these snakes are nocturnal, which means they're mostly active at night. Active by their standards anyway. At night, they'll sit high up in the trees hunting for geckos, forming that S position, the strike position that's so famous for snakes. And then during the day, they come down lower like this, better to hide from apparently. But you would imagine that this striking blue colour would be quite easy to spot out. Walking through the forest here, you'd think you'd see it just like that. But amazingly, it's incredibly difficult. Even though we knew the tree it had been on, it still probably took us 5 minutes or so of really closely looking through the tree to actually spot it properly. Looking at the viper here, you might start to get an idea of just how their camouflage might actually be effective.
looking down from above as a predatory bird would, our little hero here would pretty much disappear into those green leaves.
It doesn't help that it's quite a small individual. They can get much larger than this, but it doesn't stop them being just as beautiful. Now I could talk about this snake all day and look at it all day, but this is an island full of Komodo dragons and all sorts of other wonders, and maybe we might be able to find some of those to show you guys as well. Thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll see you next time.